Hey guys, this is Spencer with Quick Code. So I'm going to quickly go over how we partition Linux systems, or how I recommend you partition your Linux system. So we're going to run sudo gparted, and sudo is just the admin, how we run an admin command on Linux. So, and then basically gparted is just a GUI system for how we look at our partitioning. And GUI is just a graphical user interface, so just like a thing we can click on basically instead of having to type in commands. So the first one we can see it's an ext4 file system, and that's just Linux file system. And then the mount point there is just that slash, and that slash just means root. And the root is just going to have our operating system. So whatever Linux distribution you download, whether that's Ubuntu, Linux Mint, Arch, that is going to go on the root partition. And you can just format that to the size you think is required. I'd suggest going a little extra just in case they upgrade it and it becomes a little more data intensive and requires more. The second one there is FAT32, and that mount point is boot EFI. And basically on Windows, we use BIOS to boot into Windows, but for Ubuntu, it's a lot easier usually if we do the boot EFI. And that is just going to be a partition that allows us to boot into uh, Linux, whatever Linux distribution we've downloaded. So that usually you can do less than 1 GB. I probably want to go lower than 500 megabytes myself, but yeah, I'd say a gigabyte to 500 megabytes, usually safe in that range. Uh, then the Linux swap file, basically what that one is when we're using RAM, sometimes say you have Chrome in a game open, but you're mainly doing the game, what the Linux swap can do is it can take the Chrome or take Chrome's data usage that's using on RAM and move that to the hard drive. That way your game can be using more of the RAM. So I've heard multiple things, all the way from use half your RAM space to 1.5 times your RAM space. On this one I did half, on another one I did the exact size, and that's why I recommend starting off is do the exact size of your RAM. So whether that's 8 GB, 12, 16, just match that with your Linux swap file. And then the last one there is its mount point is slash home. And what that's going to be where we keep all our files and all our information. So the reason it's so good to separate root and home is because say for whatever reason you upgrade your Linux distribution and it fails, then you can re-download your Linux distribution at root. Or if you wanted a new one, you could download it at root, but each one can still use that home partition. And that will have all your files. So you'll never have to worry about erasing those files when you download a Linux distribution. So those are the four partitions I always do when downloading uh, Linux, and I highly recommend for beginners. You can customize your own sizes or do your own research to find there, but those are the four I use. Once again, this is Spencer, and this is Quick Code.